Around Kansas, brought to you by
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, folks. I want to share today a piece of an interview that I did a few months ago at the Wild West Fest out in Dodge City when I got to meet and interview Michael Dante. And you may not recognize his name, some of you will, but you will all recognize his face if you're a fan of old TV and Westerns. He even guest starred in Guest Smart. What was so cool is I had seen an episode, a rerun of Bonanza, the week before I interviewed him, and then I'm sitting there talking to him. And so we're going to talk a little bit about his life and career. First generation Italian-American professional baseball player.
Yeah.
So we started talking about his baseball career. Frank, you're going to love this. He played for the Washington Senators. And what became of the Washington Senators?
Well, they kind of went away. Now, I mean, there's another baseball team in D.C. now, but I can't even think of their name. Sorry.
Yeah, who is it?
But
yeah.
The Senators, yeah, they had a lot of good players.
They had some tremendous players. So he and I started visiting then about Yogi Berra because Heather and I happened to be in St. Louis the day Yogi Berra died, eating dinner in the neighborhood, the Hill, where Yogi Berra and Joe Garagiola and those guys grew up. So we went by his house. I got out and spoke to his niece and expressed our condolences. So Michael Dante knew Yogi Berra very well and DiMaggio, and it was like all those Italian players had their own little clique or club or support group or whatever you want to call it. You know, they were all very close friends and supporters of one another, and they I think Yogi was living in New Jersey, I think, when he passed away. So Michael talked about, you know, visiting Yogi's home in New Jersey and how they would all get together. It was just an amazing connection, just amazing.
I'll share a book with you that I've got. It's called Yogisms.
Oh, my gosh.
And you know, it is an entire book, of course, of what, of course, the most famous one is "It ain't over till it's over." But
nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
Yeah, nobody goes there anymore because it's too crowded. And so it's too bad Yogi's not from Kansas. We could do a year on the guy.
But you know, my friend Shelby Smith used to be Lieutenant Governor of Kansas. Knew Yogi. They played baseball against each other. When Shelby grew up in St. Joe, even though his career was made in Kansas, he grew up in St. Joe. So they played the state championship against each other. Garagiola and Berra were on the same team. And, of course, their team won, you know, as Shelby points out. But anyway, back to Michael's career. And hopefully we're going to get to share more of him as time goes on because he was an amazing man, and you're going to love getting to know him better.
But when I went to Warner Brothers, that's where I really learned my craft. I did Cheyenne, I did about 3 Cheyennes, Colt 45, Sugarfoot, Maverick, and I went from one Western to another, and I was a good type. See, since I wasn't in the series, and I didn't want to do a series at the time, I was very cautious and afraid that, because if you did a series and it wasn't successful, you had a rough time working. So, but at Warner Brothers, I went from one show to another, and that gave me the versatility to play the good guy and the bad guy. So very few actors that had my physical attributes could play the good guy and the bad guy. Usually, with my good looks and my stature and presence, I would play the good guy, but I also had the strength and the power and the passion to play the bad guy. So that kept me alive. And when I was freelancing and left Warner Brothers, I was able to play the heavies and guest star in the other shows because you couldn't play the hero. The hero was the star of the series. So if you couldn't be convincing as a villain, you'd starve to death. So I was able to play the villain and play it well, and a lot of them were Westerns, and I really loved and enjoyed playing the Westerns because I always wanted to be a cowboy. And I wanted to share the people that I shared my life with, that not only did I get to know, but I got to work with. I had the privilege of working with all of these stars, and all of these bigger-than-life people are in the book. And not only pictures, I have, it's 306 pages, about 100 pictures, but I have pictures with, pictures of these stars alone that I work with, and some action scenes in the book, and it just one anecdote, after another that I experienced with these pictures. And I look back and after I finished it, I said, "Wow, my dad. I'm first generation. My dad came from Italy. He didn't know the language, and he assimilated, and was a businessman, free enterprise, and all of his brothers were in business. He had 6 brothers and 1 sister. And the 6 brothers, they were all in business for themselves, and Dad spoke English as good as we did. And the emphasis was on education and all the opportunities you have in America, son, and we support you, we love you, and we're behind. We didn't have the money that we were behind you, we could do this and that, but we love and adore you and give you all our support, whatever truth. I bought my family our first automobile, a 4-door Buick, for $2,500, loaded. You got brand new 4-door Buick, radio heater, white wall tires, because my dad was in the produce business. So we traveled on the truck, and we were 7 people. So we all couldn't fit in the front cab, so the boys had to get in the back, and they managed with 3 or 4 up front. But I was so thrilled when I was able to buy the automobile for my family. And that was such a thrill. And you gotta have the right attitude and approach, because the opportunity is there. And the young people, if you don't take care of take advantage of the opportunities that America, are the greatest country in the world, you don't take advantage of, shame on you. I took advantage of them, I worked hard, and I was blessed with so much rewards. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to be an American.
So they still haven't brought breakfast in, so I guess we're going to have to go get it.
I guess so. Heck, it's brunch time now. We can eat a lot.
Anyway, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere around
Around
Kansas.
Kansas.